All right, welcome out to another episode of the Universal Sports Podcast. This will be episode number two. Episode number one was uh, completed yesterday. It's been uploaded to the Universal Sports YouTube channel. You can also hear it, the audio version, because it's just audio when I do this podcast. You can also hear the audio version on our Universal Sports Facebook, Twitter page. You can also hear it on Anchor and Spotify. So, thank you for listening. If you're going to listen to this one, my name is Gabriel Trevino, and like I said, this is episode number two where we talk professional and college sports. So I still don't have how I want to do all this. We're still trying to put everything together, but we talk NBA, NFL, MLB, UFC, boxing. We do a little bit of golf, soccer, the World Cup when it's on, or anything like that that's going on, and in college football, basketball, baseball, softball. So that's what this podcast consists of, right? So, like I said, I still trying to work through some things. Don't know exactly how I want to do all of this. I kind of want to talk the main things that are going on in the sports world of professional and college. So we'll just start off here today with the NBA, right? So today's April 4th. And so on the schedule tonight, as the regular season pretty much is going to be coming to an end here in about another week or so as the playoffs approach. Tonight, there is a big game on the schedule. It's a TNT game. You can catch it on TNT at 7 p.m. You got the Boston Celtics, who I think are number two in the standings. I'll check the standings here in just a minute. They'll be going and playing the 76ers. That's the Philadelphia 76ers in Philly. This should be another good game. The top three teams to me in the East are the Celtics, the 76ers, and of course the Milwaukee Bucks, the team that I like. So I think it's going to be a battle between these three teams. I mean, there are other teams that are also in standings, Miami, the Nets, but I don't think any one of those, four from eight are going to be able to beat one of these three teams. So my prediction right now before the playoffs start is that the Celtics, the 76ers, or the Bucks, one of those three teams I think will be going to the NBA championship representing the Eastern Conference Finals. I really do not see another team in the East that could surprise any one of these three teams. It's been these three teams pretty much the whole year, and it's going to end that way. So these three teams are going to battle it out, I think, and one of these three teams will end up representing the Eastern Conference. That's just what I think. But tonight's game, the Celtics, they come into this game 54 and 24. The Philadelphia 76ers 51 and 27, kind of evenly matched up. I like the Celtics. I think they're deep. I like Tatum's playing great, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. I mean, all these guys. But I think the thing with the Celtics is they've got a lot of depth, right? They got a great bench. Philadelphia's not too far from that either. But I'm gonna go ahead and take the Boston Celtics. I think that's who I took. I can't even remember who I took, right? But if you look at the Celtics and their last five games, they're 4-1. Just taking the loss on March 28th to the Washington Wizards, surprisingly, right, 131-11. So they've only got one loss in their last five games. The 76ers have three losses in the last five games. They lost to Milwaukee, 117-104. They lost to the Denver Nuggets, 116-111, and then they lost to Phoenix, 125-105. So the three losses that they've had have come to two powerhouses over in the Western Conference, which is Denver and Phoenix, and then they lost to the number one seed, the Milwaukee Bucks. Right. So again, I don't put too much in those five games. I just kind of mention them out there because I think it's something worth mentioning. But really, that loss that the Celtics had to the Wizards, I just kind of just don't really pay much mind to it. It doesn't look good. It's good for the Wizards, right? Because we beat a good Celtics team, but that doesn't sway me one way or the other to think that the Boston can't rebound and or they won't make the NBA Finals. This is still a very good team, and if they're healthy and they're completely healthy, and that goes for all three of those Eastern Conference teams, right? They need to be healthy. So if and I hope that when they meet, Boston's completely healthy, Milwaukee's completely healthy, Philadelphia's completely healthy, because I think that makes the matchup better for an NBA fan who wants to watch a good basketball game, a good series, right? It's good when they're all healthy. So I hope that all three of these teams will be healthy when the playoffs start here in about a week. But it's going to be very interesting for these guys. It's going to be a great matchup, and like I said, I predict one of those three teams to come out of the East, representing the Eastern Conference Finals in the NBA. I mean, in the NBA Finals. Other games that we have, the LA Lakers are also playing the Utah Jazz. The Lakers are 40-38. The Jazz 36-42. I believe the Lakers will make the play-in tournament, or possibly still could um, make the playoffs. But I think you're going to see LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and that crew in the playoffs, or at least the play-in tournament. But I got to tell you guys, I wasn't big on the Lakers all year long. I really thought that the Lakers, when the season started, I said a lot, the Lakers really aren't going to go anywhere. But they made, and a lot of credit to Rob Pelinka, right? Because he put together the best team he possibly could under the circumstances, and he put a pretty good team around now when he made this trade, right? He traded Russell Westbrook and got some pieces around LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And I got to say, I still don't think this team is going to win a championship, right? But they're a lot better than they were at the start of the season. And I do believe that they can make some noise in the Western Conference. I mean, look, your two top teams, right? And we'll get to that in a minute here, but I think they got a chance. Now, people have asked me, do you think they can come out of the West? I personally don't think that they can. But when I really lay down and I really relax and I start to think a little bit about basketball, it's not set in stone that this team couldn't surprise and get to the Western Conference, right? Because if you look at the other teams, and we'll talk about them here in a minute, right? There are some injuries, right? And a healthy LeBron James, who's still playing at a very high level, and a healthy Anthony Davis. They got some shooters. If D. Russell can stay healthy, right, and Reeves, and they got some rebounding. This team, I don't think you can completely say, "Hey, man, they're not they're completely going to be one and done." I think they can make some noise in the Western Conference. I just think in a series, I don't know if they have enough juice to beat a healthy Phoenix with Durant, Booker and Paul. A healthy Paul George should they play with Kawhi Leonard and their depth. I just don't know if the Lakers have enough. I mean, I think the Lakers could beat anybody on any given night. But we're talking about a series. We're talking about a 5-game series and then a 7-game series, and it's just your role players got to play good, and they got to play good on the road. So we'll see. But I think the Lakers will make some noise. I still don't think they'll make the Western Conference Finals, but we shall see. The rest of the games on tonight's schedule aren't very interesting to me. The Warriors are playing the Thunder. That's an okay game, but nothing that I definitely want to talk about. Hawks and Bulls, that might be a little interesting there, as both teams are trying to make the play-in tournament. Heat are playing the Pistons. And you got the Nuggets taking on the Rockets. Don't really want to talk about that. So really, the main game tonight will be the Boston Celtics taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. That game again starts at 7. TNT. If you look at the standings, right, and you go to let's go to the Western Conference first. Right now, you have the Denver Nuggets sitting at number 1 currently. Then you have at number 2 the Memphis Grizzlies. At number 3, you have the Sacramento Kings. At 4, you have the Phoenix Suns. At 5, the LA Clippers. And then at 6, you have the Golden State Warriors. So right now, currently, those would be the teams when the season ends, should it stay this way, that they're automatically in the playoffs. Now, the play-in tournament will consist right now of the Los Angeles Lakers at number 7, the Pelicans at number 8, the Minnesota Timberwolves, at number 9, and then you have the Oklahoma City Thunder at number 10. So right now, currently, the Dallas Mavericks would be out. They're one game behind the Oklahoma City Thunder. But there's been talk a little bit about shutting down Doncic and shutting down Kyrie Irving. Should they do that, and they'll benefit from that. Obviously, there's some things that could benefit this team, if they do that. But should they do that, I think they'll completely will just regroup next year. They'll be completely out because they won't make the play-in tournament without either one of those two guys. If should they both sit, so I think that's the way they're going to go. That's what I read yesterday. They were considering it. I haven't read up today to see if actually that's what they're going to do, but it sounded more like Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, which is going to be done for the year. Which then comes up. The question then is, will Kyrie Irving sign back with Dallas, and when they're on the microphone, they talk about all these things, and I'm just not sure if Kyrie Irving wants to come back. I haven't heard anything. I don't know if he said anything today, but there hasn't been anything that kind of points yes he will or no he won't. I know Mark Cuban definitely wants him to stay, but I think Jason Kidd's got some work to do. Obviously, he came in toward the end here and not a lot of time to have any kind of chemistry with Luka Doncic, right? And then Luka was kind of hurt. So should he stay, they will have a whole offseason to try to get all this stuff together. I mean, Dallas does got some good role players. Hardaway Jr., I like the way he plays Powell, Christian Wood. I mean, they got some guys that could make some noise, just couldn't do it this year. But I think that Jason Kidd has a tough job. I mean, he's got to find a way to put it together and be able to win, getting deep into the playoffs. I mean, he got deep in the playoffs with just Luka Doncic. So if you bring in a Kyrie Irving, right, you should be able to get into the NBA Finals. But that hasn't happened. So I think if this little thing doesn't work out between Doncic and Irving, should Irving come back, I think it all falls on the shoulders of Jason Kidd, right? Because he's the coach and he's got to find a way to make it work. So it didn't work out too good so far, but they have not had a full season. So it remains to be seen if Kyrie Irving does want to come back to Dallas, or should he want to go to another place. I mean, everything points to he likes it there. Um, you know, but there's a lot of things I'm sure behind the scenes that we don't know yet. So we're going to keep a close eye on it here on the Universal Sports and find out and just you read up and see what we can find out or read up on. Will Kyrie Irving come back? But I don't think the Dallas Mavericks are going to make the play-in tournament. So that leaves Oklahoma City, Minnesota, New Orleans, and Los Angeles, the Lakers. And the Lakers in that play-in tournament with just a few games left, they look like unless they fall completely apart, if they haven't already clinched, I'm thinking they're going to get in that playing tournament and against these other four teams, they have a really good chance to come out of that and become the either seventh or eighth seed, get into the playoffs. And then they play, should the Lakers get the eighth, let's say, or seventh, they play Denver or Memphis, which to me is it's very manageable. It's for the Lakers. I mean, I think they can be either one of these teams. I think the Lakers could go toe to toe with Denver. I think they could go toe to toe with Memphis, and I can see the Lakers actually winning one of those series. And that's why I said you can't really count them out, right? Because when you got a healthy LeBron and you got a healthy Anthony Davis, should they be the seventh seed, they would play the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, Memphis is tough, but I mean, how experienced are they when it comes to Anthony Davis and LeBron James, right? So I think, to me, that the Lakers in a matchup with Memphis, I don't know if they'd be the favorite, but I can see them beating the Memphis Grizzlies in the series. And if they play the Denver Nuggets, I can also see them. It'd be 8-1. So they could, not saying that they will, but they could definitely upset one of those top teams. So if you're Denver or Memphis and the Lakers come out of the play-in tournament as the sixth, as the seventh seed or the eighth seed, you got to be a little concerned. We're playing LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and those Lakers. So this is what I'm talking about. This could be a really good first round matchup. It'd be one I'd be interested in seeing. So we're going to be paying a lot of close attention to the Los Angeles Lakers and see where they come. Now you got the New Orleans Pelicans too. They're tough too. Should Zion, play and get healthy, whatever the case may be, all of a sudden that team's dangerous. They've got some skilled players, maybe not as experienced, right? But they got some studs over there. So this first round playoff, should the New Orleans Pelicans and the Los Angeles Lakers be the two teams that come out, right, of the playing tournament, boy, it's going to be a good first round matchup with the two top teams in the West. Minnesota Timberwolves, I saw this team play last week. I don't see too much of them, but I was really, really impressed with what I saw with that young team. I think they should have a better record than 39-40. Injuries might hurt them, but I love that game I saw. They've got a lot of talent, Minnesota. There's some young guys with a lot of talent that can play. I can't remember who they were playing against last week, but I saw a game that was televised, and boy, I was really impressed with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So we'll see what happens here. Then we go up to the top, the Golden State Warriors. I mean, the Golden State Warriors are the Golden State Warriors, right? So when they're healthy with Steph and Clay and Draymond, today reports were that they're going to be getting Wiggins back, so that's going to be a big plus for them. So you can never count the Golden State Warriors out, right? Because the Golden State Warriors are built now for the playoffs. That team is no longer built for the regular season, right? So as long as they're healthy going in to the playoffs, they're dangerous. I don't care what their record says. I don't care what their road record says. This is a team with championship pedigree, right? They know how to win. They know what it takes. They know how to dig deep inside. So they're always going to be a dangerous team if they're healthy. The LA Clippers sit at number 5. I love Kawhi Leonard. Paul George is out. I haven't seen any reports that tell me when he'll be back. It won't be the first round of the playoffs, I don't think. Maybe not even the second round. I'm not sure exactly when he'll be back. But can the Clippers, if Paul George isn't back, right, win the first round, maybe. But outside of that, if Paul George can't make the playoffs, I don't see the Clippers being going to the Western Conference, because even though Kawhi is one of the best players in the league, he needs Robin, right? He needs a co-pilot, and that's Paul George. And I just think those two guys, with what they have, and they have Russell Westbrook, but I think for these guys to get to the Western Conference and maybe to the NBA Finals, they need a healthy Paul George and a healthy Kawhi Leonard with the rest of the crew. So with question marks around Paul George, if he does not get back to the playoffs in at least the second round or third round, I don't know that Kawhi can get them to the third round without Paul George. But if he's not there for the playoffs, I don't see the Clippers making it to the Western Conference. And you got the Phoenix Suns at number 4, right? This is the most dangerous team to me, healthy, because Kevin Durant is the X factor, right? He changes everything. Now we know what Chris Paul. He's older. We know this guy can manage the game, the best point guard possibly at managing the game that we've ever seen, right? John Stockton was pretty darn good as well, but Chris Paul, one of the best. You got Booker, you know what he can do, but boy, Kevin Durant. Now this guy, he just lights it up. So he's coming back from an injury. If he can stay healthy and stay healthy in the playoffs, then I think the Phoenix Suns definitely are a team that you have to say will be in the Western Conference Finals. Now, would they make it to the finals? I don't know, but they'll at least be in the Western Conference Finals, I think, because Durant, Booker, Paul George, and those guys. Now they gave up a lot of their bench, right, to get Kevin Durant, but Kevin Durant, I think, was worth it. We'll find out if that depth will hurt them in the playoffs. But with those three guys and the way Booker can play and the way Kevin Durant can score, right, and Booker can score, and then you've got, you know, uh, uh, Chris Paul, which if he gives you 15, 12, 13, any amount of points he gives you is help. But this guy manages the game so well for these guys. So if Kevin Durant is healthy, I think all of a sudden this team makes it to the Western Conference. And then you got the top 3 teams, 1, 2, and 3, which are the Sacramento Kings at 3, Memphis Grizzlies at 2, and then you heard me say Denver Nuggets at 1. And these guys, they've got some players. They're very young. Now Denver's a little bit older than what Sacramento and Memphis got, but not a lot of experience going deep into the playoffs, right? So even though I like Sacramento, Fox, DeAndre Fox, and all those guys, very well coached, right? Memphis Grizzlies and the studs that they got, and the Denver Nuggets with the Joker and the guys they got. But I still think that any one of these top teams in the bottom can beat those 3. So can Golden State beat one of these 3 teams? Absolutely. Can the Clippers healthy? Absolutely. Can Phoenix with Durant and Booker? Absolutely. And then I think you got to throw in the Lakers. And I think even they may be able to give them a run. So what I'm saying, to sum it all up, right, is that the Western Conference Finals, it's anybody's. I think it can be from the Denver Nuggets to the Memphis Grizzlies to the Sacramento Kings. I don't think Sacramento, because I think that even though they're good and they've had a great season, I still think they're a little unexperienced, right? But Denver, Memphis, Phoenix, Golden State, the Clippers, the Lakers, whoa. And then with Zion and the New Orleans Pelicans, I don't think they'll make it either, but they make it very interesting, right? These young guys make it interesting. So I think it's open for anybody. And the playoffs, when they come around, they're going to be worth watching, because it's going to be anybody's match. I think it's open for anybody who can get hot as they play these games. It's hard for me to say right now. Before the regular season ends, I'll pick my team. But right now, I think it's open to anybody. Uh, And the West. In the East, like I said, you got the Milwaukee Bucks at number one, the Boston Celtics at two, the Philadelphia 76ers at number three. At number four, you got the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Knicks, New York Knicks at five, the Brooklyn Nets at six. And then you're playing tournament, your 14s, the Miami Heat at seven, Atlanta Hawks at eight, Toronto Raptors at nine, Chicago Bulls currently right now at 10. Now looking out the Washington Wizards, the Orlando Magic, Pacers, the Hornets, and the Pistons are out currently right now. So like I said, the playing tournament, I mean, the Bulls have been up and down. Toronto Raptors, I like them somewhat. The Hawks have been playing pretty good and I think the Miami Heat will be one team that we're going to see get in to the seventh or eighth spot. I do believe that we'll see the Nets as one of the teams that will join the playoffs, the Eastern Conference playoff teams at either seven or eight. But as we go up top, Brooklyn Nets, they've been playing really good. Coach Jock Vaughn has been doing a great job over there with Brooklyn, but I don't see them beat any of the, the top teams. So this team will not be in the Eastern Conference. I don't think the Knicks are off and on. They play pretty good, Brunson, Randall, and them, but I don't think they can beat one of the top three teams. So what I say is New York and Cleveland, they're up and coming, man. In Cleveland, they got some guys over there. But I don't think this year that the Knicks or the Cavaliers can beat the 76ers, the Celtics, or the Bucks. So it's going to be one of the top three. It's going to be Milwaukee, Boston, and Philadelphia. So I don't think the Eastern series until these three teams meet up are going to be as good as the Western Conference. But I think when it's all said and done, it's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks, Boston Celtics, or the Philadelphia 76ers advancing to the NBA Finals. And I'll make my pick on the Eastern Conference right now. I won't wait for the season to be over. I'm taking the Milwaukee Bucks. I said it in yesterday's podcast, right? I love the Milwaukee Bucks. So if they're healthy, I think they can beat Boston and Philadelphia. But boy, they're going to go at it. So I'm picking the Milwaukee Bucks to represent the Eastern Conference Finals. That's my team. And I'm picking them, and we'll see if they get there and get to the NBA Finals. Then I'll make my pick. But more than likely, I'm going to stick with the Milwaukee Bucks. But I think Boston Celtics, very dangerous team, and the Philadelphia 76ers playing some good basketball. So that's our talk today for NBA. It's going to be, like I said, very interesting as we come to the final couple of games of the 2023 NBA season. And we'll continue to talk about it every day, let you guys know about injuries that I may know. And if you want to talk or you want to comment or you want to say anything about the NBA, who your team is, who you think will make the playoffs, who you think will win a championship, definitely in the comment section when I post this up, let me know what you're thinking. If you want to talk NBA, man, we can talk NBA. Like I said, I come on Monday through Friday. I only get a rest on the Universal Sports on Saturday and Sunday, but Monday through Friday, I come in and we talk uh, college and professional sports, right? So now we'll turn it over to the UFC. We've got a UFC 287 scheduled for April 8th pay-per-view. It's going to be a really good one, right? And so there's just a couple of good now. There's a lot of we only talk about the main event. I post these things up on our GT Sports poll Facebook and Twitter page. So you can always check that out if you'd like to vote and leave a comment. You can do that. So definitely for the UFC, I'll be posting these fighters on the main card on our Universal on our GT Sports, excuse me, Facebook and Twitter a poll page. You can go by there when you get a chance and let us know who you think will win these fights, right? So I think I've got, not sure if I've got the whole, let's see, I think I may have the main event here. I don't know. I've got them all, but I know the main event and co-main event. Let's talk about the main event first. So you've got 7-1, Alex Pereira. He will fight in the main event against Israel Adesanya, who is 23 2-0, right? That's your middleweight main event title fight. So that's going to be a good one. I'm not going to talk more about it because I'm still putting up my notes as far as the history of these fighters and where they've been. But that's something that we're going to talk about the rest of the week, leading into the Saturday fight. So the rest of the week, I'll be coming on and talking a little bit more about these fighters. Do they have a history, and what's that history like? And then on Friday, I'll definitely give you my prediction on who I think, and when I say I represent GT Sports, right? Who GT Sports thinks is going to win this fight. But I think it's going to be a good one. We'll see what happens. And then in the co-main event, right, it's the welterweight fight between Gilbert Burns, 21-5, Jorge Masvidal, 35, 16-0. Now, I love Jorge Masvidal. But man, I'm just, we were talking about it this morning at work, and we were saying, can Jorge Masvidal, can he win? I don't know. He hasn't won very many fights, right? And so I don't know if he's got enough to beat Gilbert Burns, but I need to take a little bit and do a little bit more research on this. I love Jorge Masvidal and I want to go for him, but I want to get the pick right as well. So we'll see what happens. I'm a little concerned with the amount of fights that he's lost here recently. He's a little older also. Not sure the age of Gilbert Burns, but I know Masvidal is a little older. So, does he still have enough in the tank to get this win? We'll see on Saturday, right? And like I said, on Friday, I'll give you my prediction. But those are the two main event and co-main event. There are other fights on the main event card. And as I get the rest of those, I'll definitely talk more about that tomorrow as we talk UFC on the Universal Sports Podcast. And then we'll be talking about it all week, guys, all week long. We'll be talking about it until the fight on Saturday. So on Friday, on the podcast on Friday, I'll give you my predictions on the main card on who I think will win. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to touch up a little bit on the UFC. It's always fun to talk UFC, and like I said yesterday, I'm getting more familiar with more fighters from the UFC. I don't know a lot. I just recently, maybe almost a year ago, that I really started to get into the UFC. So I don't know a lot like most people who actually follow UFC. But I'm getting into it, and I'm liking a little bit. So we'll continue to talk about it the rest of the week, right? And so we have a couple of games. We'll turn it over to the MLB now, the Major League Baseball. A couple of games going on today that I think are going to be pretty interesting. You got the Phillies and the Yankees playing at 6:05. That game will be televised on TBS. Phillies, man, 0-4. Not a good start for Philadelphia, right? The Yankees 3-1. Now, I was talking about the New York Yankees today because there's a couple of guys. Well, there's one guy that I know at work that really he's from New York, lives in Texas, but is from New York, right? And so he's a big time Yankee fan. And one thing they say is that they always start off that way. But I think a key thing for New York is if they can stay healthy, right? I think they're going to be better this year, guys, than they were last year. A lot of people that don't like the Yankees, they're going to fall apart. Listen, I'm not sure about this year. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. They got some guys that are up there in age, but if they stay healthy and they've got a better pitching rotation, right? But if their guys stay healthy, I'm not saying that they'll go to the World Series, but you got to definitely watch these guys and consider them because they got some power hitters. So it's a long season. They're older guys. Injuries always hurt the Yankees, especially when Judge gets hurt or uh, Stanton, these guys get hurt, it really hurts them. This team just they hit power. They're just a power team. So we'll see what happens, right? But I'm just saying the Yankees are off to a 3-1 start here on the Universal Sports Podcast. We're going to continue to keep a close eye. Like I said yesterday's podcast, I am in no way a New York Yankee fan, but I do love talking about those guys, and I love keeping an eye on what they do. They've got history, man. It's one of those things where like you don't like a team, but you're keeping an eye on them every day, watching and seeing what they do. That's how I am. I'm not a New York Yankee fan at all, but I do keep my eye on them and I want to know everything that they're doing. So we're definitely gonna be talking New York Yankees here on this podcast. But they play tonight. 6:05. Phillies need a big win, man. They need a win. They don't want to go down 0-5. So it's going to be a game that I'm definitely going to be watching on one of my monitors. I mean, scheduled to pitch tonight for the teams Philadelphia. Alec Baum. I'm sorry. I was looking down. Matt Strum. I'm sorry for Philadelphia will be pitching. Domingo Germán, German, right? Will be pitching for New York. So again. We'll see what happens. There's not a lot of win or losses that we can talk about when it comes to the pitchers right now because the season just started. But again, it's going to be a good game. You can catch that on TBS. But some of the other games that might be a little interesting, the Texas Rangers 3-1, very surprising. And we talked about the Rangers, and we talked that this team was probably going to be a lot better than last year. They're off to a great start. They're 3-1. They're going to take on the Baltimore Orioles 2-2. That game is scheduled at 7:05 p.m. We'll definitely be talking a lot of Ranger baseball here on the Universal Sports Podcast, and then of course. You got my favorite team here, the Houston Astros, playing at home, taking on the Detroit Tigers. Last night they lost a nail biter here. I think it was 7-6. So again, they'll be playing tonight. I think they need to get a win. The Astros currently are 2-3. Tigers got their first win last night over the Astros. Um one to one. They're 1-3. So pitching tonight for Detroit will be Matt Manning for the Astros. You got Framber Valdez. So again, I talked about it today at work again, and I was telling some people at work they're from Houston, big time Astros fans like I am, and I said I'm a little concerned. It's all come on, man. The Astros always start off that way. They're consistently starting off, so they're going to be okay. And they kind of talked about Bregman. Bregman went 3 for 5 or something like that, and he's out of his slump. And Jordan Alvarez obviously is hitting great, but I was a little concerned because at 2-3, I think that you got Seattle and you've got um, Texas. I think these teams got better, guys, and so games that we you know should win and don't win are a little concerning to me, especially with Altuve and Brantley still out. Altuve probably not coming back till late May, mid late May. Brantley hopefully be coming back soon. McCullers is out. I mean, you got to rely on some other guys, right? So some of that bottom Hensley and McCormick. I mean, some of these guys at that bottom of that lineup, man, they got to produce runs. I mean, if Alvarez doesn't get some of these hits that are keeping us in the game, or these home runs that are winning games for us, I mean, I'd hate to see where we're at. So I know it's early on. I know that the Astros sometimes start off slow, but these are games. Last night should have been a game that we won. So I'm not big time concerned. I am a little concerned with what I'm seeing. We'll see what happens tonight. The bullpen Neris lost last night. We're not where we need to be now. Do we still have this a championship a hangover? Maybe, maybe not. But if we do, man, we got to start getting a little bit hungry. Now you got to start. It's early in the season. I'm not saying we got to start panicking, right? But you got to have in the back of your mind there are other teams in the division that have gotten better. And in the American League, I think the Red Sox are going to be better. The Yankees are 3-1. Listen, you just don't want to get too far behind, right? So these are games. Last night was a game we should have won. We need to start picking up the pace a little bit here. I know that the Astros and the Astros are going to get the best from everybody. So every night that teams are playing you, they're going to give you the best. You're the champs, so you're going to get the best from every team. So we got to get healthy, but we got to win, and it starts tonight. With Valdez going back to the top of the rotation, I expect the Astros to win. They're 2-3 currently now, so somebody asked me today if they lose, are those nervousness going to continue? And I said they're going to grow somewhat. Yes, they are, because they're the Detroit Tigers, man. We should have swept them. With the Houston Astros, right? So I'm not really big time concerned, but I am a little concerned with what I've seen. I've watched most of the games so far, and I just don't think we're playing right now. We're starting out at the levels that we need to. I mean, look at the Rangers 3-1. Look at the Yankees 3-1. So hopefully we'll get the win tonight. We'll see. I'll be watching that game, but hopefully we can get that win. Let's see what other games are on. I like the Angels and the Mariners. The Angels, the California Angels, another team that's in the division with the Houston Astros. They're 3-1 now. So should Trout stay healthy, Ohtani stay healthy? See what I'm saying? Texas Rangers 3-1. Just something that we need to keep an eye on, right? We got to get a win tonight, and we got to win the rest of this series with Detroit, right? And then you also got the Guardians and the Athletics. The Guardians 4-1. Cleveland, another team in the American League, man. They're great start, right? So the Astros need to pick it up a little bit. So just kind of talk a little bit of MLB here. Like I said, the Astros have a couple of injured guys, and just a little concerning, but of course it's a long season in baseball, so nothing to really be panicked about yet. But just going to talk, and we'll continue the rest of the week. We'll be talking about MLB in particular. We'll be talking about the Texas Rangers and the Houston Astros, among other teams as well. And now let's jump over to the NCAA men's basketball where you had UConn, number four UConn defeated the San Diego State, the number fifth team, San Diego State, 76-59. And guys, I got to tell you, after I saw the game between Iowa and LSU, the women's basketball, this game became very boring to me personally. I didn't see the whole game. I saw the first half, and then I just kind of went to bed, or shut it off and did something else. But UConn does take the win, and I'm a guy that likes to watch the Final Four. I like to watch March Madness, but last night's game to me just was not interesting. It just didn't interest me. I don't think the game itself, for me personally, was interesting. But I guess after watching the women's LSU and Iowa game, right, this would be kind of boring the way I saw it. But nevertheless, they got to play the game. UConn are your champions. They take the win 76-59. So congratulations to UConn, right? Um, that said, we talk NCAA softball, and let's take a kind of look at the schedule today, and see where we're at with college softball. Like I said, I love my Lady Longhorns. Over the weekend, they got swept by Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma is just a great softball team, But I thought in game two, man, the Lady Longhorns had that game. I mean, they were 3 outs away. 3-1, I think, was the win. And with 3 out, we just couldn't close them out. And I think for me personally, I'm not a player or a coach, but I think when you have the number one team, a team that's been so dominant like Oklahoma, and you lose a game like that, and you're Texas, right? And you're three outs away, and you can't close the game. I think when you come back for the next game, I think it really becomes hard for you to come back and try to beat a good team, because Oklahoma, obviously, you had them. They come back. They come back with a lot of confidence in game three, right? They're up 2-0. Look, we were down. We struggled in this game, but yet we found a way to win. So you come into that third game at home, pretty much. You're feeling good about yourself, right? Because you're telling yourself, man, we're probably not going to play like that again. And if you're Texas, you're putting everything out there, and then you take a loss like that. I think mentally it's really tough to kind of regroup the very next day, come back out, and have to beat and play this tough team. So I think when they lost that second game, I think it really hurt them in game three. Again, though, the Lady Longhorns are pretty good, so we'll see what happens down the road. But definitely they got swept over the weekend, this past weekend, by Oklahoma. Um, let's see, today's games, not very. I usually look at the top 10, and see who's playing. I mean, there's other teams, but I usually focus more on the top 10. So you got Oklahoma State, number two, taking on Wichita State. That game is at 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus, and then you got number three UCLA taking on UC San Diego. That's a 7 p.m. game on ESPN. So the Lady Longhorns definitely won't play today, but we'll keep an eye on these teams, and see where they're at. When you look at their rankings here, and I'll just kind of go top 25, right? But I really pay more attention to the top 10. So you got, of course, Oklahoma at number one, and then you got Oklahoma State at number two, UCLA at number three, Clemson at four, Tennessee at five, Florida State at six, Stanford at seven, Georgia at eight, Arkansas at nine, Texas is at number 10 right now, Washington at 11, LSU at 12, Duke at 13, Alabama 14, and Kentucky 15. So I'm just going to go through the top 15, not the top 25, right? So again, top 10, Texas Lady Longhorns are number 10, Oklahoma at number one. And why not? This team's got a lot of power, good pitching, they're well coached. So can anybody dethrone Oklahoma? Can anybody beat them? I mean, they got one loss and Baylor beat them, but I mean, can anybody take them out? A team that can beat them in the playoffs, right? That they will not be champions again this year. I think they're beatable, but like I said, you got to play the whole game. You saw Texas almost beating them, pretty much leading the whole game. These guys were struggling to hit the ball, but when it mattered most, man, they came through. And I just think that's a devastating loss for Texas. But again, I still like my Lady Longhorns. I think they're a very good young team. I like the pitchers that they have, and a lot of their hitters will be back next year. You got a lot of underclassmen that will be back next year. So when you look at this roster and you see what they're doing this year, they're ranked number 10. They got a great record. I mean, they're sitting at 38-1, with a lot of these players coming back. I think we're going to be better next year. than we are this year. So again, the season's not over, right? But I wanted to beat Oklahoma, but we didn't, and that's the kind of way it goes. So we'll see what happens. We'll continue to talk also, a softball every day that we come in tomorrow and the rest of the week as we continue to go through the regular season and later on get into the playoffs. Baseball is the same way, Texas, the Longhorns at number 21, beating Air Force 7-1. They're bottom of the seventh right now, so they're definitely going to look at that game. But when you look at the rankings here, LSU number one, Wake Forest number two, Florida number three, Vanderbilt number four, Arkansas number five, South Carolina six, Virginia seven, Stanford eight, Boston College nine, Kentucky 10, Tennessee 11, East Carolina 12, North Carolina 13, Campbell 14, and Florida Gulf Coast 50. So we'll just go top 15. I only put the top 10 every day when they're playing. I put them up on the GT Sports poll because I want to continue to look back. People ask me, why do you do the polls? Well, I look back and I see the scores. I try to put down the scores on there so I don't have to look through the ESPN. I can just look through my feed and I can see and keep note as I make my prediction. So there's a reason why I do it, right? But baseball, again, we're going to continue to talk softball and baseball. That's college and MLB throughout every podcast. Sometimes we may spend a little bit more time on some days than others, just depending who the matchups are. Some of the matchups are really interesting, so I may go a little 5-10 minute talk. Some may not be so interesting; they may go 2 or 3 minutes, right? But we're definitely going to continue to talk that, and then, of course, we're going to finish it off here with boxing. The biggest fight that's coming up, I think it's April 22nd. You got Ryan Garcia, and let me see if I can find something. To me, that is the let's see. We got a big bout coming up with Davis and Garcia. So to me, guys, I think this is going to be a great fight. A lot of smack talking, obviously, is what happens. I think a lot of people wanted to see this fight. Um, and, we talked a lot about that at work today, too. A lot of guys at work going Ryan Garcia. There was one guy or two, I think, that were going Davis. Everybody had a good point today when we were talking, and and I always asked who was I going for, and I said I want to go for Ryan Garcia. So I'll go ahead and give you my predictions now because I'm a big Ryan Garcia fan. But here's the deal with Garcia, right? I think to me, this is just my personal opinion. I'm by no means a guy that follows every fight in boxing, but I got certain people that I like and I follow, right? And Garcia is one of them. I think Garcia's got a bright future in boxing. I like his height. I like his speed and I like his power. And I think this guy is only going to continue to get better. Now, picking this fight, I give Garcia a lot of credit because I think the experience goes to Davis, in my opinion. But you got to fight the big fights. If you want to be the man, right, now or next year, Garcia felt he's ready for whatever reason. They're going to make a lot of money. Obviously, the fans definitely want to see finally a good fight. So I hope that, of course, Ryan Garcia wins, but I hope it's a good fight. People tell me, hey man, he leaves himself open, and Davis is gonna, knock him out. But to me, I think the experience in this fight does go to Davis, in my opinion. But man, Garcia's got some speed, and he's got power, and I think if you're Davis, you got to watch out too. I mean, because I was watching a little talk, a little trash talk, and Davis was kind of telling me all you got is the hook, and that's all you got, and you don't have the high IQ of boxing and all this stuff. And I mean, you got to hype up the fight, right? Because that just makes more people want to watch it. So you do a great job. Sometimes fighters don't like each other, right? But you got to trash talk. That's what brings the money in, right? You keep trash talking, and people want to see the fight when it happens. But to me, I do think Davis has the experience, but I think that Ryan Garcia, man, if he can find a way, because he's got the length and he's got the power and he's got the speed, right? If he can kind of keep Davis away, he might be able to win this fight. But I think Davis obviously he's got power, but I think Garcia does too. I think people don't talk about the fact that Davis, you gotta watch out too. But this guy is he's dangerous. He's really, really fast and he's got power. So, you leave yourself open, you catch a punch, just like, people, or you say, man, I can knock you out. This guy can knock you out too. So they both possess speed and power, right? But I just think Ryan Garcia is obviously taller. He can keep him away. Now, can he do that? We'll see what strategies they use. But man, I think this is going to be a good fight. And I'll just give you my prediction now. We're early on in this fight, but I'm not going to change it between now and the fight. I'm going Ryan Garcia. I love this kid. I've been watching him here for about 2 years now. He used to post up videos of his workouts, and I became a fan right off the bat. But I do think he's got a bright future. If he wins this fight or if he loses this fight, man, this kid is going to be. I think he's got the potential to really be great in boxing with just his speed and all. But again, I'm glad that they're taking this fight. A fan's been wanting to see a good boxing, and they're going to get it on April 22nd. So again, leading up from today all the way up to the 22nd on this podcast, we'll always spend some time talking about this matchup. When we get closer to the fight, definitely you can see I'll post it up on the GT Sports poll. You guys can go in there and vote, and you can we can carry a conversation about that. That's why we're talking about it now. We got a couple of weeks before the fight happens. So here, this is what I talk about. I read up, see what Davis is doing, see what Garcia is doing, see what their camps are saying, see what the professional analysts are saying, seeing what these guys are talking about each other. So all of this stuff, man, I just jot all that down and I bring all that up here on the podcast. This is what podcasting is. We talk and we try to figure out who we think is going to win a fight, right? We don't know. This is what makes it interesting. So I would definitely love to hear from you guys. Definitely, if you love basketball, if you love college baseball or softball, if you love the UFC, if you love the MLB, anything that we talked about, jump on in the conversation, man. When this video is uploaded, you can catch this audio on the Universal Sports YouTube channel, Facebook or Twitter pages. Um, and I like to hear and see what you got to say in the comment sections. Or if you want to come on, I come on Monday through Friday, man. I'll give you a time. You want to come on, shoot me a message on my email. That's GT Sports, lowercase GT Sports 64 at hotmail.com. Send me a message, how I can reach you through a cell phone number, or if you don't want to give me your number, your email address, I'll shoot you back a message. And we'll set up a date and time. Like I said, I come on Monday through Friday, day that you're available, man, and we can shoot the bull and hear what you got to say. Nobody watches you. Nobody can see you. This is not a video, right? This is just audio. So people are just going to hear your voice. No one's going to see your face. No one's going to know who you are. So I did that for a reason because I want people to come on. A lot of people don't like to come on with a camera, right? So there is no camera. We use Zoom, but it's just audio. You put yourself a headset if you want, or a microphone, or you don't even need that. Just come on Zoom and we'll talk, right? So it's a lot of fun. That's why I have this podcast. Just to, yeah, I love talking sports. I do it all the time. I just never done it this way. So it'll open it up more to be able to bring more people in. I also like to hear. I give my opinion on this podcast, right, or what I think. I'm not always right, but I give my opinion. Sometimes I'm right. Most of the time I'm wrong. So you can shoot your opinion, but if you don't want to come on, but you want to carry a conversation with just me or other people that might come on, that's why the comment sections are there. So again, we talk professional and college sports right now. Some of the things are going on, MLB, the playoffs, but we can talk NFL. We can talk NCAA football. We can talk about any one of the teams, what you think is going to happen next year, what you liked or didn't like about this past year. We can talk golf if you want to. We can talk whatever sport you want to talk about. So that's why I'm here. That's why I do this Monday through Friday. I mean, I stay busy because I got other things I got to do. We're trying to go out and do other stuff as well. I got other podcasts and we're trying to pick up other stuff. But I figured, 20 or 30 minutes that I stay on here isn't going to kill me. But I want to generate conversations. And as we move forward, getting into the 20, 30, and 40 episodes, right? There'll be some things that I have that I want to add to this podcast later on that I think is going to continue to grow and be happy. So all four of my podcasts do something different. You'll see as I get other people coming in, they'll come in here for certain things. And some people just want to come in here to talk UFC and then they'll be out. Other people may want to just talk baseball. But again, it's Monday through Friday, every day. We just come in here and just shoot the bull. So if you like the podcast, just go to the YouTube. I'm sorry, go to the Universal Sports YouTube channel and become a subscriber because that's where that's where you can catch it there. Spotify, it's on Anchor, and then of course it's on our social media pages, Universal Sports Facebook and Twitter page. So that will conclude episode number 2. Tune in tomorrow. There'll be another one, episode number 3, and we'll talk more basketball, MLB. We'll talk some more boxing, and who knows what else will come up, right? So thank you. Hopefully, you guys will love this podcast. Check it out when you get a chance. And GT Sports, right? Representing the Universal Sports Channel, signing out. I'll be back tomorrow. This will be uploaded. You can catch it tomorrow, which is Wednesday morning. You can catch it on all of the places, the social media outlets that I told you, Spotify and Anchor as well. And then I'll be back on Wednesday evening to talk more professional and college sports. Until then, man, peace out. Have a good night. I hope you guys enjoy the podcast.